Hello, everyone. I finished editing my sample interview with BRoll, and I just want to go through a couple of the audio edits that I made and show you where some things are. I'll try and keep it simple. So we already went over the gain in my last video. In this particular sequence, I did not really adjust the gain on the recording of David's voice. It really didn't need it. I did bring the music down, which I generally, if you want a quiet sound bed, this is, did I not? I thought I did. Let's bring it down, 10. And see how that sounds. Pretty quiet.
Hi, my name is David Hedman, or Dave. This is the first time I got sunburn was at a...
You don't want that music to compete with his voice, and so for louder, this is kind of quiet, soft music. So I didn't bring it down that much, but for a loud, raucous background music, I would bring it down maybe 16 decibels. That's usually where I start, the process. This is some audio that I took in our backyard, bird song, and did I bring that down? Yeah, I brought that down to -13. So we've got a couple of layers of sound here. We've got the audio that was recorded with the video that is just there's no gain on it, no volume change. Then we've got the music bed, which is intended to be quiet and background music, and so that's down by about 10 decibels. And then the ambient nature sounds, which are down by about 13 decibels. And again, to hit that gain, you can either hit the G key on your keyboard or on your mouse, you're going to take a right click. And here it is right here in this drop-down menu. Oh, I see what happened. For some reason...
a little bit drizzly.
Yeah, I don't know. My computer's running terrible with this 4K footage. As you'll notice, I'll have it down to a quarter resolution, so it will actually play back, but I'm getting a lot of drops in the playback. Like the sound is very stuttery, and it's not great. It's because I have an old computer. What are you going to do? Between some of these clips, I have used my smoothing technique of cross dissolve. Find one here. You can barely see them. Here's one. And again, in order to do the cross dissolve, that's a default transition on most computers, Premiere Pro, unless you changed it. So to me, the easiest way to get to it is hover your mouse right above the clip. Let's pretend this doesn't have one of those. So we're just, like I said, come on, computer. Well, anyway, I hover it here. I'm going to right click and apply default transition. Notice it comes in like 1 second or 2 seconds per side. So when I select it and it turns gray, then when I again hover my mouse, it will make this little adjusting tool, and I'll just pull it way in. So there's no clicks or pops or anything that are going to distract and just, sound bad. I've got a couple of different like graphics here. I made a little a little title card. The way I did this, and this is something you'll learn in digital media editing, I've got David's school picture from when he was, I don't know, 10 years old. Then I found this picture of a lobster as a stock photo. I've got a color matte in red because I wanted the impression to be like this red hot lobster, you know, you get burned by the sun. And I wanted the lobster graphic to be red. So I selected it. And if we look on the effect controls up here, you'll see that I changed the blend mode to multiply. So that is going to like sort of tint that whole thing red. Actually, I could have tinted it too. I didn't even think of that. But this is normal. This is what it looked like as normal, and then multiply. So like I said, I just thought of that. I could have done tint, and that's okay too. I did a couple of composites throughout this just for humorous effect. You know, David is Swedish, and then we've got his picture here with a burning sun. Any of the sun footage was found as stock footage. Otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward, you know, you can see from my timeline here. Can I scoot that open? You can see from my timeline that, oops, there. I've got a lot of layers. This is the main video layer, which are 2 interviews, a close-up and a far away. We got the graphics, the original graphics on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th layer. I've got my music bed down here on the audio 2, and then on audio 3, we've got the ambient nature sound. And so there's a lot of B-roll here. You'll notice almost as much, if not a little bit more, than the interview. That's fairly typical for the way I like to shoot interviews, unless it's a really great looking person or whatever, very compelling to watch. B-roll makes it ultimately far more watchable. What else? Yeah, this is something people have kind of asked about, these cross dissolves, okay? With the audio, all right, sorry, I'm gonna open up my audio effects here. So I'm gonna go to this little overflow menu and go to effects. And oh, here's crop. That's something you'll use a lot in your video. It's under the effect, transform, crop. You just drag it into the picture that you want. I crop stuff all the time, and it's handy to have. And I think in this case, I cropped this picture of David when he was a little kid. Oh, that's the boy who hated the sun text. All right, so when we look at the effect controls here, here's your crop effect, and you just kind of pull left and right, and it's just like it sounds. It crops, and you can crop top, bottom, left, right. It's great. You can feather the edges. I love cropping, but we're here to actually talk about audio effects. So here are the audio effects, and I don't know if with your versions of Premiere, these may even be better than they are for mine. Like I said, it is better to record good audio than it is to try and fix bad audio. But some things like a de-esser, a denoiser, there's a fill left with right. Those are some of the things that I use, and they're to kind of sweeten audio rather than to fully make it better. Vocal enhancer. One thing about some of these effects is they do, again, start to slow your computer down if you have a whole bunch of effects. So, but those are kind of fun to play with, and especially if you need like a weird sound effect. But generally speaking, your main effect for audio is probably right now going to be gain. It's going to be the smoothing between, and just like you can make the cross dissolves short when you're between 2 clips, you can also fade stuff out long by just grabbing the selecting and grabbing this cross dissolve and making it, you can make it go like minutes. So when I'm easing out of a sequence, I usually make this kind of a little bit long. You can also do that with the pen tool, or you're gonna grab that and do it manually. It's, you know, to me, easier to just use the cross dissolve. That's about all I can think of. Sound effects you can throw in there, but I'm going to export this so you can just kind of watch it and see what you think of how the audio sounds. Always edit with headphones on, always, always, always. And you might notice that when you listen to it without headphones on, it sounds a little different. So, you know, it just kind of depends on what kind of, if you have a sound bar or some speakers or something on your computer. The only other thing I wanted to say is when you get finished with a project, or before you export it, you want to render it, obviously. And the other thing is that you really want to watch it the whole way through. I know you've already watched it 100 times, but that's when you catch those things. And that's when you, if you literally cannot stand to watch it one more time, go get your mom or a friend or somebody and ask them to just watch it with you. And it's really important to do that, as you'll catch little mistakes that you might have missed just in the process of editing, because you do tend to go up and down, back and forth. All right, that's enough. I'm going to export this now, and you can watch it and see how it all turned out. Thanks.